How's it going? Pedro Silva here again, and I'm going to continue the conversation on living Loveward. I had a few people say to me that they wanted to hear more, and some people said that I should make it a series, and so that's what I'm doing. And this one is called Certainty Kills Relationships. And I was in a conversation with a friend a couple mornings ago, and we were talking, and she asked me about my relationship with God and how I reconcile some things in life that seem like as if they shouldn't be, let's say. And I basically said, well, certainty kills relationships. And so she's like, say more about that. And I basically was telling her that, relationships, a lot of times, because of the whole fear factor that we talked about last time, people don't allow themselves to love as they would like to love, or let themselves be loved as they say that they would like to be loved because of fear. And one of the ways that people try to overcome fear is with the illusion of certainty. Certainty does not exist, but we do a lot of work trying to pretend like it does, and predictability. And we say that, we would love to be able to predict, and we would love certainty in our relationships. And we're like, I just want to know that you love me, and I just want to know this, and I just want to know that. But if you really think about it, no one really feels that way. That is one of the many lies that we tell ourselves to protect ourselves from this love, which love undoes you. And that is something that we're very afraid of. But real love undoes you. And we don't really want that. Or we want other people to be undone, because maybe the way that they are, we wish they would be a different way, because then that would make us feel more safe and more secure. And we make up ideas of what we think people should be so that we can feel that they love us. But essentially, certainty is not something we truly want. Take, for example, say you go on a date and someone sits down with you first time and they say to you, hey, I know everything I need to know about you, maybe from a profile or something. And then they just proceed to tell you all about you. Would you be like, oh, wow, this is exciting. This is great. Like, this person knows everything about me. They don't need to ask me any questions, and blah, 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 blah. And if you knew everything about them, you were certain, how exciting would the relationship be? Tell the truth. If you say that you would love that, I don't know what to say, because I have never met a person that actually feels that way. I've heard about people breaking up with their partners because their partners are too predictable, because their partners are too dependable, because they think they know everything about the person. I've been broken up with because people thought that I was too dependable and they're predictable. And then if I did something unpredictable, they say, oh, I didn't know that about you. Let's try to continue the conversation. Let's continue the relationship. So I have not, again, just like I talked about, people receiving the love that they say they want. And I said, I never met anyone. I've also not met anybody who truly wants the certainty that they say they want, because certainty kills relationships with God and with other people. If we don't have an openness in the relationship, there's no room for growth. There's no room for evolution. There's no room for discovery. There's no room for adventure. There's no room for anything. Now, on the flip side, the thing that freaks people out is if you feel uncertain, you may say, wow, well, if I can't, depend or predict or whatever, then maybe I'll come home tomorrow and my partner will have left and taken everything. Well, I'll tell you this, if there's a chance that's happening, you're already in trouble. And there probably were signs before it ever happened. And it probably isn't love that you feel or think that you're getting from the person. Not that I'm a love doctor. I'm just sharing my experience. But generally speaking, even when there is openness to uncertainty and unpredictability and the unknown, it actually deepens love relationships to make room for people to grow, and people don't, I can't even begin to fathom a life where you meet a person and from the day you met them to the day that they die or the day that the relationship ends, they never changed. They never watched a new movie, never read a book, never had a conversation. Nothing affected them. They just stayed exactly the same from the day you met them. And I don't even know what to say about that. Half the things that we say that we long for and desire when it comes to relationships and stuff like that, I don't even understand. When I'm being honest, I don't understand it, because so many things that we say and do are contradictory to actual experience. And for some reason, we buy into it now. Is it because of television, movies? I'm not sure. Romantic novels where they live happily ever after, but then you don't hear the day after ever after, where they start fussing over dishes, or somebody comes home late, or whatever thing that makes people disturbed. They squeeze the toothpaste and one other person likes to push it up. Whatever it is that makes people disturbed, they don't talk about those things. But where in the world do we get this idea of static people who meet, never change, get in a happy zone, and hang out there predictably for eternity? At a minimum, one of you is going to die before the other one, more than likely. And so that's going to be changed. And you cannot predict that. And so the desire to predict, to look for certainty in any relationship, is already killing the relationship. Because especially if you're in fear, then when the person does something that is uncertain, and they could just be being human, you're going to freak out, and you won't even know why. You won't know that underneath you're running this tape that's telling you everything's got to go according to your predictable criteria, or whatever the case may be, that things can't change. That doesn't make any sense. And certainty, if there ever is such a thing as certainty, it is a relationship killer. Now, I know in the tradition that I come from, some people say that, God has never changed, never will change, always be the same. That even is contradictory to the scriptures, because there's a story of Abraham talking to God, and God's like, I'm going to do these things. And Abraham's like, hey, God, what about this? What about that? What about the other thing? And then it says God changes God's mind. There's a story of Jesus talking to the woman, and she says, heal my daughter. Jesus says, well, should I give the food from the master's table to the dogs? Call the woman the dog. And then the woman says, well, even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table. And then Jesus goes, whoa, never seen faith like that before. And relationally speaking, it looks like Jesus changed his mind. So no matter what we say, I have never discovered any relationship, any story, anything that evolves that also doesn't have element of uncertainty. If you watch a mystery movie and they go, who did the crime? They did. And then the movie's over. It would be boring. So let's start being truthful and realize that certainty does kill relationships. And let's start doing the practice of learning to be with uncertainty, to allow room for mystery and allow room for evolution and change and all these things that are already a part of life, and allowing love to be a way of navigating that, of walking down that road of uncertainty and mystery and evolution, and see who you become, because your relationships change you too. If you enter any conversation or any relationship the way that you entered into it, you weren't in the relationship in the first place. That's it. Hope you got something out of it. Take care.